Hello and welcome to Cinema Craptaculous, where we say a bad movie is just as hard to make as a good one, just a lot easier to make fun of. This is Dave, and with me are my uncrappy co-hosts,
Stephanie.
And John.
And Steve doesn't have the open. Just imagine.
I didn't look at it because keep this part in. I didn't look at it because it's your show. Hold on, I have it right here.
He is the guest, and we normally don't share intro outros with guests.
Oh no, he's now part-time.
Well, you have a line.
He's like Heather Locklear on Melrose Place. He's not always on, but he's part of the show.
Finally, John says something I can agree with. Feed me the line. What is it?
And I'm the special Craptaculous Crasher, Steve.
For fuck's sake. That's the intro I get? Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to do it right now. What is it again? Okay. And I'm the special Craptaculous guest
Crasher,
Steve. Keep all this in. And I'm the special Craptaculous Crasher guest, Steve. I might have said that in the wrong order, but you know what? That's what editing's for. Put it in the goddamn right order.
He's a Crasher first, Steve second.
Right. Don't get it twisted. What? Okay.
Oh, nothing.
Big robots. AI craziness and the weight and the future of the world is all on J-Lo's back. It's the Netflix.
You can't even say the title of the movie. You're like,
It's not an acronym. It's the title.
J-Lo's back and no, it's the...
Oh.
Guys,
that wasn't.
This is so unserious. Yeah, this is the potential we're leaving on the table. We're leaving money on the table. It's the Netflix. Basically, we're talking about the Netflix original movie Atlas. Here's the rapid recap to catch you up.
Cinema Craptaculous rapid recap.
When Atlas, played by J-Lo, was a kid, her mom created an AI Lifeform named Harlan, played by Simu Liu. Initially programmed to not hurt humans, something goes wrong, and Harlan goes AI batshit, as AI batshit are wont to do in movies. Determined to kill all humans, AI turn on their masters, and a war between man and machine begins. I've never heard of this plot before. Cut to 28 years later, and Cillian Murphy is fighting Cut to 28 years later, and for some reason, Harlan has gone into hiding, and Atlas has become an analyst who refuses to let any form of AI into her life, in charge of finding Harlan. But General Banks, played by Sterling K. Brown, Oscar-nominated Sterling K. Brown, has a plan to take Rangers, people linked to AI robots, and the war to Harlan. Of course, the fan hits the AI-powered crap, the plan goes sideways, and it's up to Atlas and her AI robot named Smith, with whom she refuses to work with, to save the world. Gosh.
I wish she could save this podcast at this point.
I don't think.
We need AI.
It'll be
that.
AI soon enough.
This open was just as good as the movie.
I mean, the movie seems like a hodgepodge of lots of different movies.
Agreed.
I mean, it is.
Agreed.
Yes. Let's start with complimenting the movie.
Okay.
It had a runtime.
It had.
Oh my God, Dave! That is the funniest thing you've ever said.
Yes.
Wow.
It did have a runtime.
I did like some of the special effects. I enjoyed some of the action scenes, and then they put J-Lo in it
from the beginning. I liked the interior of the mecha that it looked like it was almost like a Mercedes Benz or something like that, and I was like, ooh, that's really good interior.
What can you define to our listeners what the mecha is?
Exactly what it sounds like. It is a robot that the actors sit in and move around. You've seen it in Aliens. You've seen it in
anything
Pacific
James
Rim.
Cameron did. Yes. Even in Titanic, I think Jack gets into a mecha and moves stuff around, like the Irish cargo into the lower bin holds.
That's where he and Rose have sex for the first time. It's in one of those.
Yes,
sure.
Inside the mecha.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But mecha's the name for it. I could not remember the name of these things because I kept calling them robots and kaiju, and I knew those were wrong.
You were so close. Well, I mean,
so close.
It's such a familiar technology that it's kind of like, okay, so this movie is about a human trying to trust this technology that we have given a personality now.
So for J-Lo, would you say the road to Mecca was challenging?
The road to Mecca was
not getting the laugh
with
that
gold.
I gave Dave. Not gonna
No.
lie. Try again. Do better. I feel like the screenplay was written by AI in that everything was based on something I already am familiar with, and this feels familiar, and I want to like it. Another name for this movie could have been Tropey, because it just felt like a lot of things that were very
instead
tropey.
of Smith, her robot was named Tropey. Hey, Tropey, what are we going to do today? Well, J-Lo, we're going to connect, and I will be kind of humorous, and you will be stern, and our personalities will conflict.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was also really smart. You know how I know that? Because she was wearing glasses.
Oh, don't even get me started on the glasses. Don't even get me started on the fucking glasses. I wrote down
in a slick
look at
business
this.
suit.
Stephanie, look what I wrote. Look, can you read that? She's smart because she wears glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Then I wrote underneath it, and she's tough as nails because she puts her glasses on with rage. I wrote that down.
I felt like this movie was a YA movie, like something you see in the 80s, like Goonies or Flight of the Navigator. Just something that was made for like the intellectual level of a 10-year-old.
But also like a throwback. Like, this is not a movie that needed to be made in 2024, like, or to be released in 2024.
No.
That is this year, right?
It is 2024. Just this idea that it felt like just a young viewer's movie, and everything in the script was really on the nose. They just everything that was said, like I wrote down the dialogue is pretty basic. There was this one line where Sterling K. Brown said, "I don't think she could take care of a houseplant." Well, that's like such your basic character description line.
I agree, and he much later in the film makes a Pilates joke, and I'm like, wait a minute, where are we in the future that Pilates would be a reference? Like Pilates was a reference 5 years ago. Now, why would we be 500 years in the future and you're making a Pilates joke?
But also, where are we in the future where she would need to wear glasses?
The world building was just odd, and it always is in these future films, because there is such a huge leap between what the world of LA in this movie looks like and what it is now. There's massive windmills that power the city. They basically build a whole new infrastructure atop the city. And I get that, okay, so it's kind of nondescript how far in the future, but to you guys' point, there's still sort of touchstones of the present that just seemed weird. And then when the AI sort of, unleashes itself, a la, the Terminator, chaos happens. And yet not so chaotic that they still don't have every complete aspect of their technology working perfectly, and then some, because they're able to explore space. So it's like, well, how much damage did AI really cause? Because they still have like the state-of-the-art military and space program.
It was interstellar travel. I mean, an interstellar space travel where they were like, well, we found this planet, so we're going to go. And they went. And it was not a big deal. They had oxygen. They had
way too easy. Exactly. But can we start at the very beginning here? So it drives me crazy how lazy they open this movie. Let's open with newscasters catching us up on everything that's happened in the last 50 years. Because if I watch the news right now, what I'm going to have is somebody telling me, well, let me explain how the internet came to be, everybody. No, I already I know the internet, right? It was so fucking lazy to me, giving me the entire plot synopsis and giving me details that I'm like, would newscasters really know much personal information about Atlas's family? Was this This was just shared, I guess. Like, what? Atlas probably put it on her social media at the time. Like, what? So there was a robot, and he tried to kill me, and my mom died. Anyway, sad emoji. Like, what? Oh, also, Pilates. Hashtag Pilates.
Well, about Atlas as a child, and maybe I missaw this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but she looked up to be about 13 years old, right?
Oh, the age.
And then they cut to 28 years later, right? 28 years later,
100%.
right? So if I'm doing the math right, that's 41. Now, J-Lo is gorgeous for her age. I am not going to argue that at all, but she is not 41.
You're being overly kind to say that child was 13. That child was 9 or 10. That child had not even approached puberty, and as Stephanie can tell us, ladies, females approach puberty earlier as it is. So I'd even put her at 7 or 8, and I did the same thing. I did the math, and I'm like, oh, J-Lo's 31. What?
I put that in my notes. My notes say wrong math? Question mark.
Yes.
Wrong.
Yes.
Math is wrong.
Math is hard.
And it's just one of those things that it's ego driven, right?
Yeah.
That is like, oh, I don't say 35 years into the future or 40 years into the future. Like it would be 40 years later.
Easily.
And I find that kind of hysterical that there was a meeting and they were like, okay, like J-Lo doesn't want it to be 40 years later. Could it be
15?
maybe 28 years later?
6
5 years later?
Yeah.
I want to know how many people at that exact moment all around the world watching the movie said, Alexa, how old is Jennifer Lopez?
Oh, I did.
There was a spike.
I was like, wait a minute.
Huge
There was a
spike.
spike in Google search.
Yeah. If you didn't know she was 54, you did last week.
It's so true. I mean, as soon as I saw 28 years, I'm like, wait a minute. I actually was like, oh, maybe Atlas as a child was 18.
No.
No.
And obviously she
Still
wasn't.
doesn't add up.
And there's, what is it? We see the projection of her mom, because, that's the trope, whether it's Tom Cruise in Minority Report.
That's right.
And I've said this a million times. If technology is so good, whether it's Blade Runner 2049 or Minority Report or whatever, or A Galaxy Far, Far Away, when they do a hologram, they're not going to release a shitty hologram. It's going to, especially if it's one that people are kind of used to using, it's going to look amazing. It's not going. They don't need to make it look like it's still kind of projected in 1977. It's a hologram. Make it look like a real person, because that's what people would fork out money for.
Yes, Whitney Houston, dead, sung with Christina Aguilera, and that AI hologram that they created looked nothing barely like Whitney, but it looked like a real person was up on the stage. So I agree with you.
If J-Lo's 38 in the future, then they can bring ABBA, the live show, to people's living rooms.
100%.
Yeah.
The other
Yes,
thing I
yes.
had was, and this started at the very beginning, and see if this tracks with you. I felt that coffee deserved its own screen credit. I was really upset that it didn't say "and coffee" under the category of acting.
Was there a tie-in?
What the
with,
fuck?
like,
Himself.
And did you not expect? There was so much coffee going on at the beginning that I was like, we get it. She's human. She likes coffee. I like coffee. I'm like her. I can relate to the movie. She's my step into the movie. But didn't you think at the end, I'm sorry to jump all the way to the end, that somehow she was going to grab a cup of coffee and pour it or use it as a weapon? Because I was like, where's my coffee?
There's like a little coffee lollipop.
Yeah,
There was
it's
so
like they
much
showed the
coffee.
gun in the first act and then didn't use it in the third act.
It's so
Yeah.
much coffee. So much coffee.
So you mentioned that she's supposed to be relatable because she's like tough as nails and no nonsense, doesn't trust AI except to play chess with it to prove how smart she is. Because you can't, a woman can't just be smart. She has to prove that she's smart. Because how else do we know she's smart?
Well, we don't know if
the
you're
glasses.
smart, Stephanie.
glasses.
The glasses.
Stephanie, you have glasses on, but could you show us your chess set so we know? And that's not me being sexy.
Wait,
talk.
what?
What?
That's not me. I just said that's not me being sexy, but if you could
We all
show
went,
us your
excuse me?
rook to king 5, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, well, I have to prove that I'm smart.
Stephanie, can you take your glasses off?
Yeah, I'll just lift them up and
Oh my God,
whoa,
you're gorgeous.
Did you see her IQ points just dropped?
just
Yeah,
dropped
but
like a
sure.
stone.
We've talked about Netflix films being almost films. You know what I mean? Like, and this one, you know, you hearken back to sort of the films like of the 90s and the 2000s that, you know, like Demolition Man. And they'll have like famous people in it. But this had like Mark Strong, right? This had Sterling K. Brown. Now, again, I can't tell what's shot now, sort of in the post-pandemic, but we're still kind of overlapping where, because there was some weird shots where I don't think they were in the room together. And I don't know if that's COVID related, because we're kind of through the looking glass there, or if it's like they don't have the budget to fly them to set, so they're just, and there's just a green screen in most cities now. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird how the characters interacted.
That one of the things that from the trailer, I was like, oh, did J-Lo sign up for a movie and didn't want to leave her house? And so they just stuck her inside of a mecha, and then they'll have this whole other storyline going outside of the mecha. So I was kind of surprised when they did interact with as humans with each other somewhat.
You're right, Dave, because the trailer made it seem like this is her gravity. Like, it's like, it's another version of character stuck, isolated in space with the clock ticking before the oxygen runs out. Yes. And it wasn't. Like, she's running around the planet, and, you know, those atmospheres support humans just fine, apparently.
They did have that oxygen thing, but it was, like, so irregular. Like, it mattered and didn't matter. It was like, oh, we have to make it to here before your oxygen runs out. And I only have 5 hours. Well, like, 20 hours later, they're still
okay.
like doing shit. Yeah, it's still okay. Not a threat.
And Sterling K. Brown's character was like, he's running out of oxygen, and then like they go, we'll just give him a respirator, and that's okay.
I do appreciate sort of the cheap Star Trek aspect of trying to make it look like an alien planet where it's clearly like, you know, I don't know, like up in the Angeles Crest National Forest, and they play with the color saturation and put a few like plastic, funny looking mushrooms, and like, boom, another planet.
Yes.
Planty.
Yes.
Planty. Actually, the oxygen thing, when she was laying on the table and it said you have 5 minutes of oxygen left, Harlan tells her, and that's all you have. I turned on my timer just for fun.
Was
my
it
stopwatch.
like 3 hours later?
It was 7.5 minutes because she told that goddamn story, and I'm like, less backstory, more getting oxygen. Less backstory.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be smart.
Talking.
You could tell him about this later. Or at his funeral, because clearly he's not going to live. Right.
I'm going to tell you the story when oxygen is plentiful, but maybe not right now.
We'll just...
Right. I was just going to say on an acting side, everyone in this film, and I'm being kind calling it a film, was acting as if they did tell them, we're only giving you 5 minutes of oxygen, so get it done quick. J-Lo was literally doing Susan Lucci acting at times. I mean,
she was up here the whole time.
Up here over nothing.
Yeah.
Over nothing. Like, and we know this, you know, some of our favorite movies is like, if you're really mad, you don't play, I'm really mad. You keep it in. You make us go, oh shit, he's mad. Like my mom. Well, my mom actually just lets it flow. But that's a bad example. Like one of your moms. But she was acting. I was like, oh my God. She's like eating everyone in every scene. It was so much, down to like the littlest of things. She walks through at one point and only one soldier for some rando reason salutes her. Did you see that? There's all the soldiers walking away.
Yes.
One guy salutes her and she's like, she gives him this big old nod, like a big nod, like, yes. And I'm like, wait, aren't you an analyst? Why is he saluting you? What the fuck is
I saw Top Gun. Remember? She's a civilian, so you don't salute her. But you better listen to her.
Right. But
I guess that was the one movie they didn't copy.
That was a big issue I had with the film, was that there was so much going on that we were expected to just root for her, but it was so much at once. But also like little things, like you were just saying, like she's an analyst of things, but then she gets in this robot thing and suddenly she's figures out like that if I put my feet in these stirrup things in the bottom, that I can suddenly walk. And this drove me crazy because I'm like, oh, okay, here we go, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Glinda says, just like Smith, oh, do you have a broomstick? Nope. Well, you'll have to walk. Or, I was like, the other one I wrote down, and it's because I thought of it immediately. I was like, God damn it, it's going to be a Lord of the Rings walking movie. Now we're going to be fucking walking everywhere. But she physically had to walk. I was like, wait a minute. What kind of machine is this that it's got an ion bomb that can blow up 8 miles across, but to walk, I have to pedal it?
Yes. And the running, and it was just so awkward. And like, I had the same questions where I'm like, why is this so sophisticated? And yet you are exerting so much energy to move this thing.
Right. But again, it goes back to what Dave said or John said. I can't remember who said it, but I think that it might have been that J-Lo was multitasking. J-Lo, the actress, was like, okay, I got to get my spin class in. Can I do 2 things at once? Can I do a Peloton? So I gotta get a Peloton.
Peloton inside. Yes. In the middle of crying with no tears, she's also going to be like running and being physical.
That was the other thing that I didn't understand. She's so sad and so angry and so and I was just like, just sing a little bit of "If I Was Your Girl and I Made You and would you love me?" You'll feel better. Just sing a little bit.
If you have
obviously her breakup with Ben was happening while they were filming this.
I fully expected to see Ashanti delivering some of her lines, and we totally didn't get that. So
I just want to go back to sort of the villain of this piece, that I don't understand how the concept is this sort of like Haley Joel Osment robot type character brought into a family, like Harlan's character played by Simu Liu, that the mom builds this, and I like, just not a big deal, but chooses to build an AI robot to be in her household that's a grown 33-year-old man. Just doesn't look like a sibling. You think you'd kind of make it look like it could be your sibling because it's going to be a brother to your child. You're just going to pick some random adult man as the template, which is fine. Okay, it's like and then he turns evil because little girl decides she wants, I can't remember, we find out later that the little AI earplug thing, she wants it too, and the minute she does it, it like activates something in him. He was like, oh, I have to kill all of you. So he tries that and turns, toasters into the enemy and hijacks, everybody's electronics. And then he just leaves. He leaves. And so their plan is, after the Earth is wrecked, to go find him in the universe.
She apparently, because there's several things I want to discuss in that run, because yes, why did he wait? Why was it 28 years? Why did he fuck off for 28 years and then pretend like he was going to come back with sending the same robot mold over and over? Like the same actor was playing like 18 different robots, and I was like, why? This is weird. But then also, she was part of the system that they built, like a shield around Earth, like the Tony Stark shield around Earth. She designed that. So the Earth is pretty much protected except for those robots coming back, which I didn't understand how that worked. And then why was he gone for 28 years? But I want to say one other thing. To your point about why her mom designed Simu Liu, designed Harlan to look like Simu Liu. Was I the only one who thought that perhaps she was building a sex bot? And it just sort of became... it got weird when he started calling her mother. So she was like, I got to shut him down.
Yeah, he was a very handsome looking addition to the family.
Yes. And it was just like a weird.
But if anyone else had brought up Sexbot than Stephanie, I would not be as shocked as I am right now. If you two perverts had brought it up, but my sweet Stephanie suddenly has been. Here's the other thing I have to ask really quickly. If he touches her and syncs with her, and this causes him to suddenly want to destroy the world, 2 things. 1, was she thinking the whole time, hey, I kind of want to destroy the world? And 2, if the flow of energy went back and forth, which made her so smart, right? then
Yes.
shouldn't they have been more linked? Shouldn't she have been able to know his next move? Shouldn't she have been like this super, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
actually a very interesting layer that they just completely avoided.
It could have been a
Right.
layer
Because
she unlocked later. That would have been
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
It's-
but that was in a previous
yeah.
version of the script that got taken out.
Yeah, they were like, can you understand this if you're playing Wordle and watching the movie? No.
And
okay,
watching
cut
TikTok.
that.
Okay, but on that note too, you know that every fucking parent watching this with their kid turned to their kid and said, and that's why we don't play with the oven. And that's why you don't get in the car without mommy in the car. Did you see what happened?
That's why you can't be on your electronics so much.
Right. No more screen time.
Hey, Craptaculars, we'll be right back. And now back to the show.
I don't understand why. So why I thought that Harlan was actually manipulating her to give him the thing, like because it was
But what
just
was the thing?
what do you call it? A Neuralink, that thing that the ear thing she put on.
I think Harlan was trying to get her to unlock the two-way street so that he could control the mother, and that way he could take over the world. and
Get her to
kill all humans?
stop
I don't know.
having sex with him. He was like, please, I need to put the brakes on this. This is not consensual.
I said no means no.
All the
and
plastic
you're
has
not
came off
listening.
my. Zero zero 11100 means 001110.
Dave's on a roll.
I get
Oh
that.
my
That's pretty
God.
much Jim says that to me every night. When Jim says that to me, I am like, let's go. He starts binary code.
Binary code. Talk dirty to me. Yeah, the whole thing
Binary
was
dirty to me.
weird. It was weird, right? I mean, like, I agree with what you guys are saying, that it was weird that he, like, why was there not a two-way street? Why was she,
Yeah.
he immediately seemed like, oh, so now that I'm connected to her, I can see what humanity is actually like, so they must die. It was just so instantaneous because we're just inherently evil.
Going back to what you said about this film is just a complete hodgepodge of everything else. My first thought was Ultron. And then, of
Yes.
course, seeing the Tony Stark armor around there, I'm like, oh, I get it. Whoever is directing this is auditioning to they want to direct one of the Marvel movies. So they're going to let's do a sci-fi film where I can kind of show you my chops in similar ideas. And I'm going to get to direct, and I'm going to cast an Avenger. That'll help, a Marvel hero. And then this director is going to
Who
slide
was the
in.
Marvel hero?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, he wasn't an Avenger, but he was, yeah.
Okay.
Well, going
Yeah, he's
into
Marvel.
sort of like her complete dysfunctional relationship with artificial intelligence, like she had this scowl on her face, going back to Steve's talking about the Susan Lucci acting. She just looked so mean and bitter the minute AI and mechas and all that came up. And and then so Sterling K. Brown takes her to this the bay where all of these mechas are there, and the cast of aliens, they're all gonna die, the crew, and they're all sort of you can see the actors don't really have much business
They're
to
all
do.
James Cameron.
Marine.
type,
Yeah, they don't really have much to
stereotype
do,
Marines.
so when they get there, that one line where they've got to sound like they got to put their Bill Paxton / Michael Biehn spin on it, because that's like the one of two lines before they die. But anyway, so Sterling K. Brown is showing her all this stuff, and she's just like, I don't want to be a part of any of it. But she insists on going, knowing that all of the mission is about interacting with these mechas. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, well, you need me because I'm the only one. And I'm like, but you're not going to play ball with any of it. So how do we use you?
On that note, I do want to say she keeps saying, I don't want to interact with AI. I don't want AI linked to me. This is a huge mistake. We shouldn't be doing it this way because the bad AI can break into our good AI and turn it or use it against us. And they're all going, everyone around her is like, nah, that's not going to happen. And she's exactly right. That's
No,
exactly
but
what
hold on.
she
To
Ripley's.
your point, now that's not going to happen. Guess what? It already did 28 years ago. That's what
Yes,
started all of
exactly.
this.
Right.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
I would create a steampunk society to battle. Like everything works mechanically. There's no artificial intelligence. We're just in balloons with bombs that go off when they hit.
Dave, she did that.
Period.
Remember? She tells everybody out, grab your crayon, here's some tablets. We're going to be writing this
she was
down.
Like, printed this paper.
And they're laughing about paper. Paper?
Yeah.
Where'd you find a printer?
Yeah, the whole thing about this movie is there's so much exposition. Like every scene is an exposition scene, yet it leaves you with so many questions.
Yes.
You're like constantly going, wait, why is it so important that everyone's synced? What are the advantages of that? Like, why are there 10 versions of this one AI droid?
Yeah, who keeps popping
And she
up and
keeps
saying, you
killing
can't
it.
kill me. I can.
Yes.
We've seen this happen 4 times. I think like the alien guy, the robot shows up 4 times.
Ultron.
And different versions or something, right?
Yeah, and there's no reason for why. It's like, are they like Battlestar Galactica where there's several different models and they all look the same? Or is his consciousness, his digital consciousness flowing from body to body? So it's him each time, but just a like updated version? Nobody knows.
We won't know.
Yeah, this is the problem with death, period. Because in anything, death is the end. That's all we know.
Yes.
In reality. But when we take it out, like, I cannot die. I cannot die. Not only I cannot die, it's not like Superman. It's not like Superman, like I'm indestructible. It's, oh, you tried to kill me, but I didn't die. Oh, you tried that, but I didn't die. And it's like, well, then why do I try anymore?
Yeah.
I'm not for 1 second worried that J-Lo is in any danger in this film because she's our hero, right? So I'm not ever worried that she's going to die. But then no one else is going to die. So what are your stakes here? There are no stakes here.
Well, they killed everybody off, and now it's just Sandra Bullock and Gravity minus like the really good effects and story writing.
Sterling K. Brown's character is important to me when I watch it, but then it's like he gets saved. Spoiler alert, he gets saved, but then is like, well, I'll do the noble sacrifice thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're George Clooney.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But they kill him like twice. Like one time off screen where it's like, oh, his mecha was destroyed and we can't find his body, but no one can survive in this environment for more than 10 minutes. So he probably dead. But then they find him. Harlan has kept him alive. Harlan does something like
drills in his brain.
Wire. Yeah, drills into his brain in order to get information out of it, which is very confusing because if they had that two-way link, might as well just like
corrupt the link. Like what? Like this is the thing they were afraid of doing.
And go right into his brain. Yes. But he drills through his eyes, and you think, oh, he's dead, and then he survives that. So you're right. There is no death in this.
That note, am I the only one who thought when Sterling K. Brown survived the crash and he was out there that he was a sex bot? No. Am I the only one who thought that the reveal was going to believe? No, listen to me. I thought this big trick was going to be he's AI because did you
and that
see
she
how
trusts
it was
him,
you know? And everyone, the way they were directed in this film was to act kind of like this anyway. So I thought, and she trusted him, and it turns out his AI saved her. That's what I thought the trick was going to be.
Mm-hmm. But instead, they wanted to make it that her car was sentient.
I felt bad because a lot of these films look really. Some of these films are poorly lit, and so on my TV, sometimes they're very dark, and I don't quite see things correctly. But I thought, touching back to the first assassin that they capture, he's like they just get his face, his head, because he's a
just
robot.
His head, yeah,
which I thought was actually one of the best bits in the movie because it's like we got him, and then they pull out this suitcase, and I'm like. That guy was like 6'9", he's a big dude, and it's just his head. And of course, he's all defiant to the end. And it's a kind of a callback to Aliens 2 with Lance Henriksen or whatever. And so
that's true.
And J-Lo's scowling at him, and he's laughing at her. And his one thing he could do is he hawks up like a screw, like he this head spits it. Of course, she's
It's like
wearing
a throwing
like a little
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but it keeps in the
Yeah,
back of
sure
his
is
throat.
right.
And of course she outsmarts him because she doesn't trust anybody. But I thought that, to your point, Sterling K. Brown, that it was going to turn out that there was going to be a wide shot, and it's not his full body on the table, it's just his head. And then he's been
Yes.
he's been turned into one of those things, and his last thing is he actually hawks one of those things at Harlan, and like they would call back to that, like this head
Buys time.
but like cyber loogie or whatever it is.
No, there's no callbacks here. They
That's not true.
never look back.
That is not true. Coffee
Coffee.
is a callback. And I wanted her
Yep,
on
you're
the
right,
table.
you're right.
I wanted her
You're
on
right.
the table. I wanted her to be like, when they're like, you have 5 minutes of oxygen left. Is there anything you'd like as your last, 5 minutes? And for her to be like, a cup of coffee. And then she spits it like in one of the alien, AI's faces. And
Yes.
it's melting. Like I want to send that to happen.
Going to J-Lo's acting real quick, the people I saw it with said, wow, she was really good. So it's funny how what we know to be sort of
Wait,
histrionic, like up here, I think a lot of people probably thought that she was really bringing it. And
Ooh, wait, John, hold on a second. The people you saw this movie with thought that of J-Lo?
I don't want to bag on my family.
No, I'm not bagging on your family. I'm specifically wink. They thought J-Lo did a good performance. They liked her performance.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
I think there's probably other people, not just us, who highbrows, who
J-Lo loved it.
Yeah, I was about to say J-Lo's family. Her choreographer.
Not Ben.
But, she's been good in other things. And I remember her being interviewed for the press tour. And she didn't mention like they had to make her hair look awful, but they did say that she had to be in a green box staring at things. And I don't think she has a lot of experience doing that. So I kind of give her some credit, because if you haven't acted in like, the way, Robert Downey Jr. and all those people had to do, where they're in these green with just their head to the camera. I think she, did pretty well.
Well, I
She's
mean,
used to looking at herself.
But but to be fair, in 2008 when what's his face, Tony Stark was doing it, Robert Downey Jr., no one had really done it before. He was like thrown in the deep end too, and he pulled it off. She
Yeah. No, I would
Well,
say...
I do want to say her hair looked great. It was the hair that she wore when she was crazy. She liked to wear her hair like that. She was a crazy little girl running up and down the block. Crazy little girl.
Crazy girl running up and
no
down.
no limits, all dreams.
She's crazy hair Jenny from the block.
It is very hard to act by yourself like that. So that is a very valid point. There's an exceptionally good episode of The Bionic Woman it's a two-parter. It's called Doomsday is Tomorrow. And Lindsay Wagner
I loved how you fixed your glasses as you said it. There's a 2-part episode.
because I'm smart. I'm smart. And Jamie Summers has to battle this computer, Alex 7000, and she has to play most of 2 episodes
I remember
by
that
herself.
episode.
And she does a killer job at it. It's very difficult. But I have to digress for one moment from all this conversation, because I just remembered something. In a previous episode here on Craptaculous, you all took the time to note the performance of one Shelley Hack. And then you questioned how she figured into the movie, and also, I think it was the Stepfather movie with Terry O'Quinn. And you questioned where she fell in the Charlie's Angels lore. And
okay.
you had the audacity to not know where she fucking fell in the lore, and then you called me out? You tried to call me out? Well, let me tell you, and everyone listening, hopefully Shelley Hack, who's listening, she was Charlie's Angel number 4. She played Tiffany Wells in season number 4 for 1 season. She was from Boston, and she joined the team after Sabrina Duncan left to get married and have a baby. Sabrina got a lot going on that summer. She joined the team. It didn't work out too well for Shelley because she was gone the next season. She went back to Boston to rejoin the police department. And Tanya Roberts took over for season 5. Okay, continue on now with today's episode.
We have found our headliner.
Don't you ever call out me or Shelley Hack ever again.
Keep your name out of our mouths.
Filthy Shelley Hack mouths.
I love it.
Well, with that, should we rate
No,
this?
wait. I have something else. I wanted to bring up really quickly. that we really haven't talked about. Smith the computer.
Yeah, we really didn't talk about the main character, one of the main characters.
So can we
her car?
Can we talk about Smith for a second here? Because, again, here she is acting alone, and she's probably not acting with that actor. I doubt. I mean, I feel that was just something done later. So that, to me, going back on what we said for J-Lo, it's probably an AD who was standing by the side, mumbling the lines.
Yes, yeah.
So that probably wasn't easy. But I want to ask a question that I wrote down here, because we have to establish trust amongst ourselves at all times. So I'd like to go around and start with Stephanie and ask, cake or pie?
Cake.
John?
Cake.
Dave?
What kind of pie?
3.14. No, we're not going. No.
No.
It's like a J.
Cake. Totally cake.
And I would have said cake too. Wait. We're at 30%.
Just 30. You have to let us in, Steve. Let me in.
I can't.
That's the other thing. I would have loved to have seen another Ranger syncing up with their mecha in that way, so I could understand. Okay, so you have to reveal your personal trauma to the mecha in order to link with it. Is that it?
Guess.
Because if that's it, that's great. Just give me a scene near the top showing me that, so I can understand why she's having so much trouble linking with this thing.
I don't understand. I didn't understand that either. I mean, they tried to make it seem like it was this perfect, like this terrible trauma from her childhood where her mom was killed because she put the Neuralink on. She put the Neuralink on with Harlan. Harlan saw everything apparently a 9-year-old has seen and is like, oh my God, Earth needs to die. And then
all he saw was repeats of Barney episodes.
Twilight.
And it was like, okay, this species needs to die.
That's what I'm saying. Why her? What dirty thoughts did she have?
She just had too much information, I guess. But but then here's the other thing. I don't know why Harlan leapt to the conclusion that, I mean, his philosophy, he states it clearly because they needed to state it. He's talking to her on the evil planet or whatever, like the distant planet where he has her captured. He's like, I wanted to destroy Earth the moment I found out that human beings cannot be, saved. So instead, I will kill them all and then save them. And I was like, wait, how does that work? If you blow up Earth, who are you saving? Like, what?
That's sort of the question with all the Bond villains and all the superhero villains is you want to trash the Earth, but then what? What are you going to do with the remains? And I don't understand if they know that Harlan is completely unbeatable. To your point, like, well, it gets a little futile because you kill him and not dead. Oh, you tried to kill me, not dead. Then just try to fuck him up, slow him down. Like maybe just lower the Wi-Fi, make it really hard for him. So you know what? I'm going to stream a lot of. I'm going to stream 38K video games while you're trying to operate, Harlan, just to slow you down.
To that point, the CPU, they were trying to get his CPU or whatever the hell. I don't know why, but he's 28 years old. Like, he probably works as well as Steve's laptop. So it's sort of
how
like...
How dare you?
That's
true. How dare you? First Shelley Hack, now
you think their tech is sort of... I think the idea is they're saying he evolved at the same rate or higher than...
But nobody said that. No. They needed to have said that because otherwise you're like, why is this a problem? Like,
well, and he's also gone to a planet that's pretty primitive. I mean, it's not like he lands on a planet and there's an Apple repair store nearby to keep his parts going. He goes to a planet where there's nothing but like funky mushrooms. He didn't go to an advanced civilization and
build one. Yeah, he didn't even he could if he's so advanced. Why couldn't AI have built this planet?
Right, But to that point. She comes over the ridge and she sees the Emerald City, right? And yet, when we get in there, it's this weird, drippy warehouse garage in the dark. Yes. Like, to John's point, if you're watching on an old TV, you're like, wait, what? I was like, wait, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Joss Whedon's Justice League, the Super Friends Annex. Remember that other bonus room that he created? Yes. That weird, like, wait, why are this is it? This is the whole Justice League? It's a bunch of, we're in a Best Buy? We're at a Best Buy of a bunch of TVs? Like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah.
Yeah, like they're literally keeping their prisoners in a loading dock, and I'm like, this is weird.
It's weird.
It's shot in the same warehouse in Vancouver that every 90s CW show was shot in.
Yes.
One other
100%.
point I'd like to bring up about this movie that really bothered me, and I wrote these down. This movie did not have a catchphrase. Sterling K. Brown says, "Casca, eat shit," and then he starts blowing up shit with that gun.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
J-Lo says,
Yep.
"But Smith is a better version of you." J-Lo also says, "The truth is, I don't like anybody." So like when Sterling K. Brown said Casca eats shit, he could have said, "Hey Casca, kiss my AI," and then blow shit up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or Casca, more like Cas can't, and then blown shit up.
Well, the thing is, his name is pronounced like Casca, so I kept thinking they were saying Costco.
Costco.
I'm like, Costco.
J-Lo with that, but Smith is a better version of you. I wanted her to say, "Batteries not included, bitch," and then blow him up. Like something.
Yeah.
Give me something.
I wrote something like that down too, because I think it's the last shot where she gets into the new Smith and she goes, "Let's go, bitch." And I really thought it should have been, "Let's go, Tin Man."
Right. Something. Or
Something.
time for it.
Just a little.
It needed that Steve Silverman pass on
thank
the
you
script.
so much.
So that and that being the case, when we are trying to sync up,
we need to improve it, John.
Yes,
we need
I
to
agree. How
improve
dare
it.
and when
you, Shelley Hack.
when Steve syncs it up, he's gonna look and he's gonna say Shelley Hack or Tanya Roberts, Halloween or The Changeling.
All right. Hold on. All right, everyone's still listening to this podcast. Stephanie and Dave now owe me a coffee a la J-Lo because I texted them behind John's back and said, "How long will it take John to find a road to connect Halloween to this movie?" John, you never let
You're
me
right.
down.
That's true.
Fucking love you, man. I love you, man. But no,
Every time.
you don't need me specifically to write a cleanup, a polish on the script. You just need what I want to. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, a writer to
human?
have written this fucking script.
This is
Not AI.
Human.
Not AI.
Not Sora.
It is AI.
Costco.
feeling.
Well, clearly this film was greenlit because everybody's just like shitting their pants over AI, and we had that film that came out. What was the one that came out last fall about the one with Washington?
Oppenheimer.
No, the one with, the child, and she's an AI child and they don't know if they should kill her.
Oh, like something about, I cannot remember the name of it.
The creator.
Yeah,
Creator. So obviously we're hitting the zeitgeist. So we're going to see more of these as Hollywood itself gets more paranoid.
Well, what's so interesting is there was a film. Oh God, it was a small film, so maybe not many people saw it. It was called Terminator. Have you heard of that?
No. Dave, I believe it's pronounced Terminator.
Oh,
Yeah.
Terminator. Yes.
It was a Soviet bloc film, right?
It was by Asylum Studios.
It takes place in a warehouse, not unlike the look of the style of the Costco planet. Maybe that's what it was, Steph, is that was shot in an old Costco.
Yes. It was all pallets of food.
Wait, I have a question. Do you guys think that in the future AI is going to watch this and like giggle at us? They're going to watch this movie and be like, "Oh, you idiots.
Stupid
Tell me
idiot.
where."
No, we're gonna be strapped to a table, and it's gonna force us to watch it.
Yes.
And then it's going to make us listen to our podcast episode of this on loop.
On a loop forever.
Yes.
Oh, I
Object
can't
anyone
wait.
to that.
Should we rate this now?
Yes.
Should we rate it now?
Yes.
Cinema Craptaculous ratings.
We have a 3-tiered rating system, and the top tier is Cinema Craptaculous, and this week it's AI Yay! And then the second tier is Craptaculous. This is just an okay movie. Watch it on a Sunday afternoon if you have time. That's AI So-So. And then finally, Utter Crap. I don't need to say anything more about it, but it's AI Nay.
This sounds like a Gene Autry song, like a refrain. AI, yay, AI so.
AI so.
What happened to AI? Why didn't you put that in there?
I wasn't. Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah, that would have been
No,
good.
no. Dave would say it like AI, and then Stephanie would crucify him.
Well, no, I was going to say it like the Wilhelm scream and just be like AI.
First of all, I love that Dave says it like in its correct Bavarian pronunciation of Wilhelm scream.
Well, that's what it's called.
The Wilhelm
Isn't it
scream.
called? No one calls it the Wilhelm scream, do they? Maybe they do.
I think the film could have benefited from more of those screams.
More screams.
AI. I'll go first if you don't mind.
I do, but go ahead.
I'm going to give this AI so. And I know that sounds shocking, but I do think if 12-year-old Dave saw this, he would have loved this movie. Not loved it, but he would have enjoyed this
28 years ago?
Yeah, 28 years ago, 12-year-old Dave watching a mecha thing. And there's a lot of good mecha fights. There's a lot like the one, what are they called? The AI human form who she keeps killing. He had some really good kills. Casca. He had some really good kills and fun fight scenes. I just thought there was some fun action scenes in it, and but it was also kind of crappy. So AI so.
I would rate this as an AI nay or an AI because it was just. I didn't want to watch this movie when you guys were like, Atlas. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch this. But I did, and I was not happy. I had too many questions. Like Simu Liu was barely in this. To be a villain, like an all-powerful villain, he was not in it enough. And I really didn't understand the conflict, and I didn't understand the backstory, and I couldn't handle watching J-Lo run in place. I didn't like that at all. That was super like full body cringe for me. And she ran in place a lot because she's inside of this Cybertruck thing.
Also, she just kept like the big action moments for her inside the thing. There's like falling down.
Yes. But then it was weird
falling
because
out of
it was
a plane, falling through the planet,
screaming, crying with no tears.
Yep.
And the weirdest part, I can't let this go without mentioning this part. This part bugged me so much. She's inside of the mecha, inside of, with Smith as her co-pilot or as the mecha talking to her, sentient mecha. And she's running in place and he's running and she's walking in place and he's walking. And she's so tired from all the running in place that she leans against the side of the mecha and then the mecha leans on a tree. And I'm like, what if there wasn't a tree there? Would it just fallen over because she's reaching out? What are the mechanisms here? What is going on here?
Yes. And when does the mecha know to match her movements and not match her movements? Because there was another time she did something. I was like, oh, the mecha didn't do that.
Yeah, it was just weird. It was weird. It had to put a metal plate on her broken arm or her broken leg. He put a metal plate on it. I'm like, does he not know she's human? Like, what is happening? It was just, this is why I'm like, I can't. I wouldn't watch it again. Yes. I wouldn't recommend it because it's like, I don't think we have to do better, guys, as a society, as humanity. Like, we have to do better.
If we are not going to hold our real world criminals accountable for things, we need to hold our fake world heroes accountable to things.
Yes. I think that I am going to jump in with an AI so-so like Dave, because I think that just the effects people that they hired in Bangalore and other parts of Southeast Asia. Yeah, all those
like in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, all those effects artists help keep the effects industry. Yeah, that part of the world is employed because of all the work done on this. And no, I think that there's probably a really good mocap gag reel that J-Lo will never see that the crew put together of one of her dancing videos, and it's the mecha that they basically took Smith and have her dancing one of her songs because
that's how they pitched
because they've got her scanned. That would actually be good bonus material. I agree with everything Stephanie said, but I do think that just if I'm actually saying, would I recommend this film, I would say yes. To a 12-year-old like Dave, this is like their modern Battle Beyond the Stars, that kind of like if you can't get Star Wars, what's the next? And you're a sci-fi fiend, you'll eat it up. So for people who are sci-fi fans and they're waiting for Avatar 3, this kind of like helps their appetite. But we review all these films passionately, dispassionately, but there's so many of them. We say almost a movie. It's frustrating because I feel like that we grew up watching films. We could tell the ones that didn't have a budget, but maybe there was some real creativity behind it. I think we're getting so used to sort of homogenized, just okay films that I think that's what's frustrating when I see stuff like this.
You mentioned budget. This cost $100 million.
Yeah, and it's just adequate.
I am going to overrule all of the choices, and instead I'm going to rate this movie based on previous Jennifer Lopez films. I'm going to give this, starting with what I like to call an enough, as in the movie she did. Enough is how I felt about that movie that we just watched. But also, I'm going to give this film 5 out of 5 Geelys. Because every reason...
You're liking the metric system, and we're using the King's.
That is correct. I am. Even though I'm not. I know John should be the one. He's the one over in the UK.
Yeah, the Imperial.
Right? It was my fault. I actually suggested to Dave and Stephanie to text Madam Web, which I watched, which I have to say, Madam Web, I think I'd rather sit through that again than this movie.
Wow.
That's a giant wow. If you haven't or have seen Madam Web, you might be like,
I think there may be a lot more to make fun of in Madam
I think so
Web.
too.
I mean, some of the choices there are like
I know, but in a
insane.
funny, like, we could laugh about it way. The thing with this movie is it lacked, it's again what we've talked about before. It really felt like a bunch of note cards up on a corkboard of what a movie should be. This is what it is. This is the conflict. This is what she has to do. And all human logic, fuck it. And any creativity, fuck it. And any humor, fuck it. Any romance? There was no romance. There's no. She wasn't even slightly.
She gets the sex toy doesn't have any sex, but she does get a coffee lollipop.
Yeah, true. But I mean, she's not even interested in Sterling K. Brown. I was like, that could have been something. You could have gone a little bit somewhere with that. But overall, it just was a mess of a film, and I kept just asking out loud to the screen, like, why did they direct it? Why is she that mad? Wait, why is he saying it like that? Everybody, why is everything so broad and yet specific at times, where it was defying logic specific, but then on the things that should be logical, it was like, meh, whatever. We'll just make a wide brush stroke and I'll water down the paint. So I just think this is a giant J-no, and I leave you with that. And I also would like to apologize to Stephanie. I was just kidding about her looking sexier when she takes her glasses off, even though I'd like to say that when she took her glasses off, nice try, Wonder Woman. I know it's you. Nice try. Your secret identity is not safe any longer.
Oh.
Hey, do you like it when I take my pants off?
1101111111111. That'll only be funny if you listen to the whole show. That's the callback this fucking movie needed.
It is. Well, thanks for joining us on this Cinema Craptaculous journey. This is Dave, and ever present with me are
Stephanie
and John.
Oh, there's a part I'm supposed to do, I'm sure, and it's gonna be like this. And your Craptaculous guest star, Shelley Hack. Shelley Hack.
Shelley Hacked. And Steve's gonna sing us out on which J-Lo song?
Let's
J-No.
get loud. Let's get loud.
Oh, I have it. You just gave it to me.
What was it?
Let's get plot. Let's get plot. When the script isn't there, we need a plot. Let's get AI. Let's get AI. Who cares if the planet is in the future, but looks like it's Costco? I have a coupon.
Looks like it's Costco.
Costco.
This episode was brought to you by Coffee, Shelly Hack, and Costco, and Binary Code.
A special thanks to all of our loyal Craptaculous listeners. You know who you are. We call you Craptaculars, and we are grateful you spend time with us. Be sure to tell all your friends and family to listen, subscribe, and leave us a rating and a review. Cinema Craptaculous offers up hilarious movie discussions, and our Expanded Universe show offers up a grab bag of showbiz analysis, interviews, pop culture fun, and lots to geek out on. So stay tuned for more Craptaculous fun coming to you wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.